is are Diksha mantras necessary, or is the Maha mantra sufficient to take us back to Godhead? So, are Diksha mantra necessary, or is the Maha mantra sufficient to take us back to Godhead? So, please take over the call, Prabhuji, and I request all the devotees. Prabhuji needs some help for reading, so whoever can read, please read. I will be there too, but whoever can would like to volunteer, please read for Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think we should ask devotees before we start the class how many devotees can take turns and read, so we can know.
Yes, I can read Prabhuji.
Okay,
Anybody
otherwise,
else would like to read? Gita Mataji, would you like to read?
Sorry, Mataji, I'm good right now. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Chitra Mataji. Oh yeah, she can listen only, Prabhuji. I
okay.
think, yeah, most of them would like to listen only. Vinod Prabhu, would you like to read?
Uh, I think I like to listen in only.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Surendra Prabhu is driving too, so he may not read it. What about Manju Mataji? Can you read? No one. Prabhu Jati. Yeah. Only I can read.
Okay, so only two of us.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. I think the host has to give you permission to record.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Do you also do live on YouTube?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. So I will start the recording on my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जलशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे हे श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so today we'll be discussing very on the importance of Diksha mantras and its comparison to the chanting of the holy names, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and whether the Diksha mantras, do we require the Diksha mantras as an absolute necessity, or we can just go back to Godhead by chanting. And before we start reading, I would like to explain the meaning of the mantras and the Maha Mantra. So, what is the difference between mantra and Maha Mantra? So, mantra means, as you know, mantrayati iti mantra, which means that that which delivers the mind. It is called the mantra, and technically, you can say that this means it is uh, basically saying that it delivers the mind means it gives us liberation from the anxieties, from the distress, from the sufferings of this material world. So that way it is called the Maha Mantra. Sorry, the mantra. So this is the definition of mantra. Now, what is the meaning of Maha Mantra? Maha means something which is great, right? The significance or the importance is much greater than compared to the mantra. So why it is called Maha Mantra? Now, what is Maha Mantra and what is mantra? So Maha Mantra is also a mantra which can deliver us, and not just that, but it can also give us prema, love for Krishna, love for what? In the Mahamantra, there are, this is the way we define in Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So we say that the Mahamantra consists only of the holy names of the Lord. There are no, see, when you have Gayatri, when you have Diksha Mantras, there is the three aspects to it. One is the Bij of the mantra, as in, what is the meaning of Bij? Bij is basically the root. Root means that by calling out that particular word, you are addressing a particular deity of the Lord, a particular god. So that Bij is there, and then we have the name, the naam. So to whom you are calling out, that particular demigod or god's name is there. And then there is the nyasa. Nyasa means the way we are supposed to worship, how we are supposed to worship that personality, for what purpose we are supposed to worship, like that. So this is the three aspects of a mantra, generally, technically speaking, for the Gayatri or for the Diksha mantras. And the Mahamantra, it has only the holy names. It does not have the Bij, it does not have the Nyasa part of it. It only has the name, Nama. So there is only Nam. So you see that Hare Krishna Mahamantra does not have Namaha, Swaha, or the Bij like Klim, Aim. You know, these are the Klim, these are the Bijas of the mantras. So these are all absent in the Mahamantra. But we have only Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So all these words, Hare Krishna, Rama, they are all the names of the Lord directly. And that's why it is called the Mahamantra. Now, what makes the Mahamantra different from the mantra is that especially when you call the holy name of the Lord, then you don't need to observe any rules and regulations. You can approach the holy name without following any particular vidhi. And the holy name also does not wait for anything. It does not depend on anything. It is completely independent because it is non-different from Krishna directly. So, or the Lord directly. So you don't need to. So the holy name does not depend on Diksha. It does not depend on Guru. It does not depend on association of devotees. Does not depend on knowledge or anything else. Holy name is completely independent. Whereas your Diksha mantras, so holy name also does not require any qualification to chant, any need to follow any particular injunction or prescribed rules and regulations. Whereas the mantra has got certain qualifications. One has to be purified. One has to be a brahmana to chant the Diksha mantras or the Gayatri. And there are certain rules and regulations. There are certain timings which are recommended. Those particular timings we are supposed to chant the mantras. And there is a regulation for that. So that's why this is the mantra. This is only the mantra. Like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Then like the Gopal mantra is also there. And so there are different Gayatri mantra is also there. The Brahma Gayatri, which I think you have all heard about it. Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tatsavidur Varenyam. Although this is a secret mantra, it's not supposed to be chanted openly, but somehow we all are aware of it. Anyways, even if we know the mantra, if we chant it, but unless we receive from the Guru in a disciplined succession, there is not going to be any effect of the chanting. So that way it is a secret mantra. It has to be chanted only when received by the Guru, and it will have only effect when it is given by the Guru. Whereas the holy name has already been given to us in the scriptures. Now the question is that the Kalisantra Upanishad mentions about the holy name. And Kalisantra Upanishad, it's a Vedic scripture. So when a mantra is part of the Vedic scripture, does it not have any restrictions? Because we are not supposed to openly chant the name, the mantras which are given in the Vedic scriptures. But then the holy name, although it is given in the Kalisantra Upanishad, it can be chanted because the holy name, as I said, that it does not depend on the scriptures also, rules and regulations of scriptures. It is totally independent. And that's why one may directly chant the holy name. There is no problem in that. Even though it is part of the Vedic scripture. Now, it is, some devotees, they also say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because of that, he reversed the sequence of the holy name. And he started chanting with Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare. But that is not true. This Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting is actually given in the scripture. Basically, there are two versions of Kalisantra Upanishad. Some say it is Hare Krishna starts with Hare Krishna. Some say it starts with Hare Rama. But then we have other references in the Anand Samhita, in the other scriptures also, in the Tantras, where the exact sequence of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is mentioned. So, which begins with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And if you want the reference, I can also email it to you. So, this is actually the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as it is, that we are chanting now. It's not something that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reversed it. And they also claim that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reversed it because it's a Vedic mantra. It's not, it's not a Bhagavad mantra, it's a Vedic mantra. It's not even a Smriti mantra. It is basically directly the Vedic mantra. But it is not true. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has openly revealed the Yuga Dharma. He has shared with everyone. So now, when we are taking first initiation, technically there is no first initiation according to scriptures. It is also not something that was followed in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. This is Srila Prabhupada who actually divided into two parts. It started with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but it was not done the way we do it in ISKCON. In the first initiation, like for example, we give name, and at the same time, it seems that we are receiving the holy name, right, from the Guru. And then there is the formal ceremony, there is the yajna and all that. But during the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and the way it is done in Gaudiya Math, it is just Naam Pradhan, which is basically, they are just asking you to chant the holy name regularly. That's it. They don't have any ceremony. They don't even give names in the first, when you meet the Guru for the first time and when he bestows you the name. Technically, it is not bestowing also because you have already got the name. You already hear from scriptures and the devotees. So it is like you are not exactly receiving the name, but when it is specially given by the Guru, or if the Guru is recommending, then it like kind of has some weightage. It can empower you. It can have because it is accompanied by some kind of instruction from the Guru, so it can have a good effect. Because without knowledge, when you chant the name, it will not have that much effect. It will be kind of namabhas. If you don't commit offenses, it will be namabhas. But if you commit aparadh, this will be nam aparadh. But when you receive Samman Gyan, then you actually know how do you chant the mantra, why do you chant the mantra, what is the purpose of the mantra. All these things are given by the Guru. So, first initiation is not actually initiation to be according to the the Shastras. And second initiation, you'll see in the Gaudiya Math, they bestow name, whereas we bestow name in the first initiation, right? And second initiation, we are receiving the Diksha mantras. So, Diksha mantras, now, why do we receive Diksha mantra in the second initiation? Technically speaking, there was only one initiation before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur divided into two. Because in this current generation of Kali Yuga, people are Malechas and Yamanas. Srila Prabhupada said like that. We are Sudras, Kalau Sudra Sambhava. So we cannot chant, we do not have the qualification to chant Gayatri. And that's why in order to chant Gayatri, or in order to chant the Diksha mantras, in order to approach the deities, we must become Brahmanas. And in order to become Brahmanas, we have to have the holy name. We should chant the holy name for a specific period of time, regularly, sincerely, and without try to chant as much as possible without offenses. Then we make advancement, and then we receive a direct approach to the Lord through the form of the Gayatri mantras and the Diksha mantras. Okay. Now, even there is a difference between Gayatri and Diksha mantras. Like for example, the Gopal mantra, it's a mantra that is used to approach the deities, to worship the deities. So when you worship the deities, you call the mantra, you chant the mantra, and that's how you actually offer the articles to the Lord. The process of worship is carried out through the Diksha mantras, whereas Gayatri is basically used for meditation purpose. So generally, if you would like to meditate on the meaning of the mantra, then Gayatri is meant for that. So 3 times a day you have to chant at a particular time. and that way the Gayatri will help you in your focusing your mind on the form of the Lord, on the meaning of the mantra, so that way you become more stable. Whereas Diksha mantras, they are helping you to approach the deity, and through the process of deity worship, your material contamination is destroyed. So, this is the thing that you receive at the time of second initiation, and there are 7 mantras that you receive. So you'll have the Guru mantra, you'll have the Guru Gayatri, then you'll have the Gaur mantra, Gaur Gayatri, then you'll have the Krishna mantra and the Krishna Gayatri. These are all 6. So these are all part of Panchatatrik Vidhi. These are all Panchatatrik mantras. And then finally you'll have the Vedic mantra, so which is the Brahma Gayatri. Now, why Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur incorporated this Vedic mantra uh, is because, in just to prove to the Brahmanas, the caste Brahmanas, that the devotees of the Lord, they are greater than Brahmanas. So that's why he incorporated the Brahma Gayatri also. Otherwise, actually, it is not required because it's a Vedic Gayatri mantra. So that's not required for us. The Pancharatrik mantras are sufficient for us, right? So I hope you have understood the difference between mantra, Mahamantra, Diksha mantra, Gayatri. Now let's start with our the topic today. It's about all right. So the topic is, whether do we really require the Diksha mantras? Is it absolute necessary for us to go back to Godhead, or just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra it's sufficient? So let's go through all these references and we'll try to reconcile all of these, and we'll also come to a conclusion. Okay, very, very interesting. You'll see, I've quoted Srila Prabhupada's letters, his lectures, his purports, and of course the acharyas also. So we'll go through all of that. It's very important to go through the references directly. Then there is no question or confusion. There's no doubt about it. So you'll see the verses directly. You'll see all these references directly. So I'm sharing on the screen. Okay. I just wanted to ask Mataji, are we doing the Bhagavatam verse? I just forgot about it. Are we doing the Bhagavatam also verse? Should we take, or can we just skip and
No,
directly?
Prabhuji, yeah, just your topic today, or whatever you feel good, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, there is one relevant Bhagavatam verse which I would like to read.
Of course.
Maybe we can just go through the purport of the translation, the purport, right? Like no need
Yes,
to
yes,
the verse,
yes,
or
Prabhuji.
let's send the verse and directly go to the translation purport. So
Mm-hmm.
that, I think, it will serve all the purpose. All right. So this is, I'm starting with the Bhagavatam verse, 10th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 18. Tato jagan mangalam achyutamsham samahitam surasutena devi udara sarvatmakam atmabhutam kasta yathanankaram manasta. All right, let's skip the synonyms, go to the translation, and we'll also read the purport. Purport is very important. Thereafter, accompanied by the plenary expansions, the fully opulent Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious for the entire universe, was transferred from the mind of Vasudev to the mind of Devki. Devki, having thus been initiated by Vasudev, became meaningful, became beautiful by carrying Lord Krishna, the original conscious for everyone, the cause of all causes, within the core of her heart, just as the East becomes beautiful by carrying the rising moon. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As indicated here by the word Manashta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was transferred from the core of Vasudev's mind or heart to the core of the heart of Devki. We should note carefully that the Lord was transferred to Devki not by the ordinary way of a human being, but by Diksha initiation. Thus, the importance of initiation is mentioned here. Unless one is initiated by the right person, who always carries within his heart the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Godhead within the core of one's own heart. The word Achyut Amsham is used because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sat Aishwarya Purna, full in the opulences of wealth, strength, fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. The Supreme Godhead is never separated from his personal opulences, as stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.39. Rama Vimurtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan, always situated with all his planetary expansions, such as Ram, Narsimha, and Vara. Therefore, the word Achyutamsham is specifically used here, signifying that Lord is always present with his planetary expansions and opulences. There is no need to think of the Lord artificially as the yogis do. Dhyana avastita tad gatena manasa paschanti yam yogina. Bhagvatam 12.13.1. Yogis meditate upon the Supreme Person within the mind. For a devotee, however, the Lord is present, and his presence need only be awakened to initiation by a bona fide spiritual master. The Lord need not to live within the womb of Devki, for his presence within the core of her heart was sufficient to carry him. One is here forbidden to think that Krishna was begotten by Vasudev within the womb of Devki, and that she carried the child within her womb. When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead within the heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching to the common man. The form of the Lord situated in the pure, unalloyed heart of Vasudeva is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere and specifically within the heart is called Dham. Dham refers not only to Krishna's form, but to his name, form, quality, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the eternal form of Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devki, exactly as the setting sun rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Okay, so I will skip the next paragraph, but let's go to the end of this. Commenting upon this verse, Sri Veer Raghavacharya writes, Vasudeva Devaki Jatarayor Hridayor Bhagavata Sambandha. The Supreme Lord entrance into the womb of Devaki from the heart of Vasudeva was a heart-to-heart relationship. So, see, the entire purpose of reading this purport is to give you some idea what exactly is initiation. It does not here mention anything about the bestowal of the Diksha mantras. It is only stating that the Lord was transferred from the heart of Vasudeva to the heart of Devki. And similarly, the spiritual master in a parampara, bona fide guru, a sadguru, will transfer Krishna from uh, his heart to our heart. And this is how we get initiation, right? So it's a heart-to-heart relationship, heart-to-heart connection, right? So now this particular purport is encouraging us to just take shelter of the Lord sincerely, without any formalities, like the process of diksha. So now, what is the importance of diksha for us? How do we understand that? So let's go through all these other references. All right. So let's start reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, 15th chapter, verse number 108. All right, Mataji, would you like to read?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
We'll
Right?
take it one by one.
Diksha Purusha Cha. Right?
Sorry.
Wait,
Are you able to see on the screen?
yes, Diksha Purushascha Vidhi Apraksha. This one, right? Or you want me to read translation?
Sorry.
Do you want me to read translation, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Okay. Translation. One does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. One simply has to vibrate the holy name with his lips. Thus, even a man in the lowest class can be delivered.
Okay, continue, Mataji. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Srila Jiva Goswami explains Diksha in his Bhakti Sandarbha, Divyam Jnanam Yato Dodyat. कुयत पापस्य संकशम तस्माद् दीक्षेति सा प्रक्ता दिशेक्ष्या tattva kovidaha. Diksha is the process by which one can be awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all the reactions caused by sinful activity. A person expert in the study of the way revealed scriptures, revealed scriptures knows this process as Diksha. The regulative principles of Diksha are explained in the Hari Bhakti Vilas and the Bhakti Sandarbha. As
You can
stated,
just speak Sanskrit, no problem. That's fine.
yeah. Uh, okay, can I skip this construct part, Prabhuji? Can you read English?
Yeah, you can skip the Sanskrit. You can read the translation.
Yeah. Even though born in a Brahmana family, one cannot engage in Vedic rituals, which because being initiated and having a sacred thread. Although born in a Brahmana family, one becomes Brahmana only after initiation and the sacred thread ceremony. Unless one is initiated as a Brahmana, one cannot worship the holy name properly. According to the Vaishnava regulative principles, one must be initiated as a Brahmana. The Haribhakti Vilas quotes the following injunction from the Vishnu Alaya, Vishnu Yamala. Unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, all his devotional activities are useless. One person is not properly initiated, a person is not properly initiated can descend again into the animal species. Hare Krishna. Okay. The Bhakti Vilasa 2.10 further quotes, it is the duty of every human being to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master, giving him everything body, mind, and intelligence. One must take Vaishnava initiation from him. The Bhakti Sandarbha 298 gives the following quotation from the Sangraha by,
Sagar.
by Tattva Sagara. By chemical manipulation, bell metal is turned into gold when touched by the mercury. Similarly, when a person is properly initiated, he can acquire the qualities of a Brahmana. The Hari Bhakti Vilas 7.11 and 12 in discussing the Purush,
Purushcharya.
Purusharya process quotes the following verse from the Agastya Samhita. In the morning, afternoon, and evening, one should worship the deity and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, offer oblations, perform fire sacrifices, and feed the Brahmanas. These five activities constitute Purushacharya. To attain full success when taking initiation from the spiritual master, one should first perform this Purushacharya process. The word Puraha means before and Charya means activities. Due to the necessity of these activities, we do not immediately initiate disciples in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. For 6 months, a candidate for initiation must first attend arati and classes in the Shastras, practice the regulative principles, and associate with other devotees. When one is actually advanced in Purushacharya Vidhi, he is recommended by the local temple president for initiation. It is not that anyone can be chanting initiated without meeting the requirements. When one is further advanced by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 rounds daily, following the regulative principles and attending classes, he receives the sacred thread, Brahminical regulation, after the second 6 months. In Haribhakti Vilas 7.467 is it is stated without performing the Purshacharya activities, one cannot become perfect even by chanting this mantra for hundreds of years. But one who has undergone the Purshacharya uh, process, Vidhi process, can attain success very easily. If one wishes to perfect his initiation, he must first undergo the Purashacharya activities, and Purashacharya process is the life force by which one is successful in chanting the mantra. Without the life of force, and one cannot act, anything similarly, without the life force of Purashacharya Vidhi, no mantra can be perfected. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami describes the importance of deity worship and initiation Diksha as follows. It is Srimad Bhagavatam's opinion that process of deity worship is not actually necessary, just as the specific prescriptions of the Pancharatra and other scriptures do not have to be followed. The Bhagavatam enjoins that even without practicing deity worship, one can achieve the complete success of human life by any of the other devotional process, such as simply offering ourselves as at the lotus feet of Lord's feet for his protection. Nonetheless, Vaishnavas following the path of Sri Narada and his successors, endeavor to establish a personal relationship with the Lord by receiving the grace of a bona fide spiritual master through initiation. And in this tradition, the devotees are obliged at the time of initiation to begin engaging in deity worship. Although deity worship is not essential, the material conditioning of most candidates for devotional service requires that they engage in this activity. When we consider their bodily and mental conditions, we find that the character of such candidates is impure and their minds are agitated. Therefore, to rectify his material conditioning, the great sage Narada and others have at different times recommended various kinds of regulations for deity worship. Similarly, the Ramacharana Chan-
Ram Archan, Chandrika.
Ramarcha Chandrika states, O best of the Brahmanas, even without initiation, preliminarily purification or acceptance of the renounced order can attain perfection in devotional service simply by chanting the Lord's holy name. In other words, the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so powerful that it does not depend on official initiation. But if one is initiated and engages in Pancharatra Vidhi, deity worship, his Krishna consciousness will awaken very soon, and his identification with the material world will be vanquished. The more one is freed from just a minute, I missed the freed from material identification, and the more one can realize that the spirit soul is quali- qualitatively as good as supreme soul, such as a time when one is situated on the absolute platform, one can understand that the holy name of the Lord and the Lord Himself are identical. identical. At the stage of realization, the holy name of the Lord Krishna, Hare Krishna mantra, cannot be identified with any material sound. If one accepts the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a material vibration, he falls down. One should worship and chant the holy name of the Lord by accepting it as the Lord Himself. One should therefore be initiated properly according to the holy name is good for both the conditional and liberated soul. It is especially beneficial to the conditioned soul because by chanting it one is liberated. When a person who chants the holy name is liberated and he attains the ultimate perfection by returning home back to Godhead in this world, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 7.73 Krishna mantra hoite yaha be samsara mochana Krishna Nama Hete Pabe Krishna Charana. Krishnera Charana. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. The offensive chanting of the holy name does not depend on the initiation process. The offenses chanting of the holy name does not depend on the initiation process, although initiation may depend on Purnacharya or Purnacharna. The actual chanting of holy name does not depend on the Puracharya Vidhi or regulative principles. If one chants the holy name even once without committing an offense, he attains all success. During the chanting of the holy name even once without committing during the chanting of holy name, the tongue must work. Simply by chanting the holy name, one is immediately delivered. The tongue is a seva nu mukha jivha. It is controlled by service. One whose tongue is engaged in testing material things and also talking about them cannot use the tongue of absolute realization. Without the material senses, one cannot understand the transcendental holy name of the Lord or his form, activities, and pastimes. But when one actually engaged in devotional service, utilizing the tongue, the Lord is revealed. As it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 17.134, the holy name of Krishna, his body, and his pastimes cannot be understood by the blunt material senses. They are manifested independently. If
Okay. Yeah,
interested,
that's fine, mother. Just one reference is already done. Okay. So, see, I wanted to share a couple of things here. I think one thing that we have clearly understood from the purport is that the holy name is completely independent, does not require anything. But in order to chant the holy name properly, which means purely, uh, offenselessly, we require knowledge and our behavior, our uh, the way we conduct ourselves, that has to be pure. So when it is said that the holy name does not wait for anything, and when it is said that just by chanting the holy name one attains everything, and we don't even require diksha or purusacharya vidhi and rules and regulations, it is basically meant for those devotees who are kind of liberated, who are almost liberated. So they are not affected by the material contamination. They are spontaneously devoted to the Lord, and their conduct and everything is pure. So these kind of devotees, when they chant the holy name, when they take shelter of the holy name, then definitely they attain the Lord. So, so that's one thing. Second thing is, uh, here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's very interesting. Prabhupada has translated this Krishna mantra as the holy name of Krishna, whereas Sridhar Swami, Prabhupada's godbrother, and the other acharyas, so they have translated in different ways. Yeah, so this is the verse that I'm referring to. CC Adi 7.73. Krishna mantra haite habe samsara mochana. Krishna naam haite pave Krishna charana. So this Krishna mantra is actually referred to as the Diksha mantra. Whereas Prabhupada is actually translating in terms of the context of the holy name again. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can attain freedom from material existence. And Krishna Nam Haite Pabe Krishna Ra Charana. So basically, they are distinguishing and they are saying that Krishna mantra here refers to Diksha mantra. And what do we gain? What do we attain by Diksha mantra? Krishna mantra Haite Habe Samsara Mochana. You attain liberation. You attain freedom from all miseries of this material world. So the um, goal of Diksha mantras is to basically bring you to a liberated state and also to make you realize your swarup with the Lord. So that's kind of liberation which is defined as per Gaudiya Vaishnavas. When we define liberation, that's in context with how are we going to, like, liberation means that okay, your relationship with the Lord is fixed now. So that's liberation. So you attain your Swarup Siddhi. So it will liberate you. That Diksha Mantra is going to liberate you from the material anxiety, suffering, and all. And whatever the, it basically take you out of the material world, and it will make you realize your relation with the Lord. But then Krishna Nam Haite Pabe Krishna Charana. So Krishna Nam gives you love for Krishna. So this is what, there is a difference between the two mantra, the mantra and the Mahamantra. So Mahamantra can go up to Goloka. It goes up to Goloka, and Krishna mantra, which is the Diksha mantra, it goes beyond the material universe, but it retires. It does not enter Goloka like that. And then His Holiness Banu Maharaj also in his lectures he has stated this many times, and he quotes this example of Gopkumar from the Bhagavatam. So Gopkumar, who had got Diksha mantra, was actually initiated by his guru, and his guru, later on it is revealed that his guru was none other than Krishna himself. So it is mentioned that the guru had given only Gopal mantra to Gopkumar, and just by chanting the Gopal mantra, he could actually travel throughout the universe, anywhere in the universe. Not just that, but he also went to Vaikuntha. And then he was informed, he even went up to Dwarka, but then he was informed by Narad Muni that if you want to go to Goloka, then you have to chant the holy name. So it seems that this is what Bhanu Maharaj says, that it seems that by Diksha mantras you can go up to Dwarka, Mathura, but you cannot attain Goloka because only Nam can enter there. So this is how they have explained. Although Prabhupada here is actually translating in terms of the context of the holy name. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, so let's go ahead with the second reference, and I will read that. So if one is interested in the process of Archan, one must positively take, okay, one more comment. I forgot to add one quotation from Bhakti Sandarbh by Jiva Goswami. Actually, he also mentions that this deity worship, first of all, if you have read, one second, let me go to that verse. Okay. So see, this is the verse in the Bhakti Sandarbha 283 to 84, Jiva Goswami describing the importance of deity worship and initiation. So Jiva Goswami is also giving a very important relationship between Diksha Mantra and deity worship. So he's saying that actually Diksha Mantras are meant to worship the deity. And he's saying when you are taking Diksha, you are obliged to worship the deities. So see what is mentioned here. Nonetheless, Vaishnavas following the path of Narada and his successors endeavor to establish a personal relationship with the Lord by receiving the grace of bona fide spiritual master through initiation. And in this tradition, the devotees are obliged at the time of initiation to begin engaging in deity worship. So, see why the process of Diksha is connected to deity worship is because, as I told you, that you have the Diksha mantras, and through the Diksha mantras you approach the deities. Now, if you have only the mantras but you do not worship the deities, then it's going to serve the same purpose as you have the, anyways you have the holy name, right? In fact, it is it's really, if you think about it, then you'll observe that most of the time we are chanting actually the Hare Krishna mantra. Whether we are in the temple, we are doing kirtan, we are participating in the Kirtan, or whether we are doing Japa, we are chanting mostly Hare Krishna Mantra. Whereas the Diksha mantras that we are getting, we are probably chanting thrice a day, right? But the holy name we are chanting constantly. We are trying to chant throughout the day. So the major important element becomes the Kirtan or the holy name of the Lord, and the mantras become secondary. Now the mantras will actually play an important role when you worship the deities, because through the deities only, through the worship of deities, you get rid of the material contamination. That's why Prabhupada then he adds this, so that he says that although deity worship is not essential, the material conditioning of most candidates for devotional service requires they engage in this activity. When we consider the bodily and mentally conditions, we find that the character of such candidates is impure and the minds are agitated. Therefore, to rectify this conditioning, the great said Narad and others have different times recommended various kinds of regulations of deity worship. So see what happens when we worship the deities. When we have deities at home or when we are worshiping deities in temple, we follow a very regulated lifestyle, because the deities they want everything on time. It's a regulative, it's a vidhi, it's not spontaneous devotion. So generally, the deities when you are worshipping, it's not supposed to be on Raganuga platform. It's supposed to be on the Panchratriki platform, which is awe and reverence and Vidhi platform, rules and regulations. So you'll have to serve the deities on a regulated time. You have to perform arti, puja, and whatever, and that's why you'll have to wake up at a regulated time, and then you have to follow certain uh, purity standard, externally, internally, both, in order to worship the deity. So that way, because of that regulation of schedule in terms of external internal purity, we come to the transcendental platform very soon. That's why Prabhupada says that very soon, once Krishna consciousness is awakened, like Prabhupada here says, in other words, chanting Hare Krishna is so powerful, it does not depend on official initiation, but one is initiated, engaged in Pancharatra Vidhi, his Krishna consciousness will awaken very soon, because this is the most important element, deity worship. The deity worship is going to add to our purification of the process very soon, and we will become more Krishna conscious. It will speed up to the process. So that's why the Diksha mantras are supposed to be assisted with deity worship. If you do not do deity worship, then technically speaking, you don't need the Diksha mantras. Of course, the Diksha mantra is also accompanied by Sambandh Gyan, because these Diksha mantras they are specific in nature. So, for example, um, so I will share this Gopal mantra with you. I maybe some of you are second initiated, and probably if you are not, then maybe you are aware of the mantra. But I'm just sharing because, anyways, in Prabhupada purports books, Prabhupada has also given the mantra. The acharyas have given the mantra. But of course, there is no effect of the mantra unless you receive it. So, but I'm just sharing it so you will actually understand what exactly is there in the Diksha mantra. So, for example, Gopal mantra, Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijan Vallabhaya Swaha. So, it's a 18 syllable mantra. The beat is Klim. Krishnaya is the deity, the name, Naam. And then Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijan Vallabhaya Swaha. So, he is basically the lover of cows, he is the lover of the gopis. And of course, uh, the pastimes of Krishna with the cows and the gopis is also there in the mantra. So it becomes a very specific relationship with the Lord. For example, when you are chanting this Gopal mantra, you are specifically worshipping Krishna in Vrindavan, because you are talking about the cows, you're talking about the gopis, right? So it becomes very specific. Whereas when you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we chant it very generally. We don't even know the meaning of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra when we have come to ISKCON. Later on, we understand that Prabhupada explained that, okay, oh Radharani, please engage in Krishna service. But how do we engage in Krishna service? What exactly the name Hare Krishna and Rama mean? These are all uh, explained to us a bit later as we keep advancing and we keep reading the books of the Acharyas. So that Sambandh also we can get through the books of the Acharyas. But when you are specifically worshipping the deities and when you get the Diksha mantra, the relation is very specific. It is like you know that, okay, my Ishtadev is Krishna, who is a lord of the gopis and the cows. So basically that refers that your worshipable object is Krishna in Vrindavan. It is not of Vaikunta, it is not of any other place. So it becomes very specific. Whereas Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you are not really sure of your identity with the Lord. Okay, and that's why the Diksha mantras are also given at a later point of time. Because one cannot give the Diksha mantras unless one sees that one is fixed in the philosophy. One has accepted the philosophy. One follows that. One is convinced of the philosophy. One has the conviction to follow that philosophy. So later on, the Diksha mantras are given. Of course, it requires qualification also because we are worshipping the deity. So the deity is not different from the Lord. So in order to worship the Lord, we have to have purity, and in order to have that purity, we um, take care of internal, external body and our mind, and at the same time, we also offer articles with the mantras. So this process of Diksha mantras is actually connected with deity worship. Now, if you're not worshipping deities, you don't even require the Diksha mantras, technically speaking, because the mantras are, see, another important factor is that even our acharyas, they have stated very clearly that the Diksha mantras also, they gain their potency or the power. It's because the name is there. So, like for example, Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijan Vallabhaya Swaha or Namaha. Okay, now the name is there, Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya. So Gopijan Vallabh, Govindaya, and Krishnaya. So these are the names of Krishna, and because the name is there, that's why the Diksha mantras or the Gayatri, they get their potency through the names of the Lord. So ultimately, when you already have the naam, and when you are uh, most of the time you are chanting the name, you're not chanting the Diksha mantra, then what is the use of the Diksha mantras? So, so this is how we actually establish the relationship between the Diksha mantra and deity worship. That's why Jiva Swami says that uh, one is obliged to worship the deities when one gets the Diksha mantras. Um, Another quotation from Bhakti Sandarbha, which I think I have missed here to share, is that Jiva Goswami says that however, this process of deity worship is recommended for householders, for rich householders, because rich householders, they can engage everything in Krishna's service. They can use their money in decorating the deity, the dressing of the Lord. Then they can make it so attractive that they'll forget material existence, and they will also um, realize that we are not the owners of the house. The Lord is the owner. So he actually recommended this for householders who are rich. Okay. This is also another important point. I think this I have forgotten to add in this. Okay. So let's go to the another reference. Okay. If one is interested in the process of archan, one must positively take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and learn the process from him. There are many books for archan, especially the Narad Panchratra. In this age, the Panchratra system is particularly recommended for archan. Deity worship. There are two systems of archan, the Bhagavad system and the Panchatric system. In the Srimad Bhagvatam, there is no recommendation of Panchatriki worship because in this Kali Yuga, even without deity worship, everything can be perfectly performed simply through hearing, chanting, remembering, and worship of the lotus feet of the Lord. The special purpose of deity worship is to keep oneself always pure and clean. Deity worship should be continued along with hearing and chanting. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can reach the platform of love of Godhead. One might ask, then what is the necessity of being initiated? The answer is that even though the chanting of the holy name is sufficient to enable one to progress in spiritual life to the standard of love of Godhead, one is nonetheless susceptible to contamination because of possessing a material body. Consequently, a special stress is given to the Archan Vidhi. One should therefore regularly take advantage of both the Bhagavad process and the Panchatrik process. This is Prabhupada's purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7:5, 23 to 24. So again, the same thing is stated by Srila Prabhupada that why deity worship is important. Because we are conditioned soul, that's why we need deity worship. It helps us very quickly in order to come to a regulated platform of bhakti. Okay, so yeah, all right, let's go to the next. Okay, so Mataji, can you read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just a minute. So, letter to Chaturani, Vrindavan, 4th September 1972, 7294, New York. My dear Jadurani, please accept my blessings. I beg. Sorry, Prabhuji, one call came. I beg to acknowledge the receipt of your letter dated August 31st, 1972, and I have noted the contents. I am especially glad to hear that you have distributed 32 Bhagavad Gita as it is in one day in New York. Now go on this way and distribute all of our books profusely, as many as possible, to all the classes of men. Regarding your questions, second initiation is real initiation. First initiation is the preliminary, just to make him prepared, just like a primary school and primary and secondary education. The first initiation gives him chance to become a purified, and when he is actually purified, then he is recognized as a Brahmana, and that means real initiation. The eternal bond between disciple and a spiritual master begins from the first day he hears. Just like my spiritual master. In 1922, he said in our first meeting, you are educated boy. Why don't you preach this cult? This was the beginning, and now it is coming to fact. Therefore, the relationship begins from that day. If you, Prabhuji, if you think of me and my work for me, then I am in your heart. If you have loved somebody, he is in your heart. It is common thing, everyone understands it. If I hate somebody or if I love somebody, he is also in my heart. Therefore, simply by hating Krishna, he gets salvation. Like Kansa. So if you want to hate Krishna, hate Krishna. There is no difference between me and my picture. Therefore, we should honor and keep pictures in that spirit. If we throw pictures this way and that way, that is offense. The name and the picture are as good as the person and in the spiritual world. In the material world, either picture or person, everything is illusion. The spiritual master accepts the sinful activities of his disciples from the first initiation, and I may give initiation very easily. But what can I do? I am prepared to go to hell for service of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Brahma said, should always be shown front side. Hoping this meets you in good health, your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, ECBC, SDA.
So, see, very important letter. Prabhupada is clearing one concept about which is the real initiation. As I said, that technically speaking, according to scriptures, second initiation is actually the real initiation. First initiation is like a background. It's a foundation to for the devotees to advance to some extent so that they can be given second initiation. So it is basically a purification process. Now, Prabhupada also states a very important point because many devotees have this question, when the bond between the spiritual monk, if I'm not initiated, am I connected with Prabhupada, because I've not received initiation until now. So Prabhupada clearly states here that the eternal bond between disciple and spiritual master begins from the first day itself, he hears. So basically, you can say that when you start hearing from devotees and when you are accept in your heart and mind to follow the instruction of Guru and you accepted the philosophy, you are convinced about that, then I think that's the time the initiation starts. When you accept someone as a spiritual master in your heart and you start following the instruction. So this is what Prabhupada is saying here. And then Prabhupada is also saying that spiritual master accepts the sinful activity of disciples from the first initiation onwards. So basically, that means now there is one. Okay, I will go through the reference later on also. But initiation is a matter of heart. It's a heart-to-heart connection, as we also read in the Bhagavatam purport. So it starts when you accept the devotee, the advanced devotee as your guru, and the guru also accepts you. So like that. So once the guru is giving instruction, that means that he has like accepted you. Okay, so next reference. Satsarup, letter to Satsarup Maharaj. Now on August 7, 1977. So this letter is not from Prabhupada. This letter is from Tamal Krishna Maharaj to Satsarup Maharaj. But he's mentioning what Prabhupada stated about certain things. My dear Satsarup Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I have been instructed by His Divine Grace, Prabhupada, to reply your letter dated 25th of July, 1977. Now, Prabhupada was not able to directly write because he was not well during that period. Srila Prabhupada explained the difference between first and second initiation as follows. Why do you believe in rumors that first initiation is not so important as second? I have already said that it is equally important, but you say rumor. Actually, first initiation is more important. You can go without second initiation. If the first initiation is executed very thoroughly, that is sufficient. First initiation stands strong. The spiritual master accepts the disciples' sinful reactions upon giving first initiation. The Vedic system was to give the sacred thread at the first initiation. We are following Pancharatri Vidhi. Vedic initiation was given to a person born to a Brahmana. That is not possible in this age. Therefore, he has to be prepared by Harinam initiation and then second initiation. He is given a chance. Therefore, others protest that I am giving initiation. He is not born of a Brahmana. How can he be initiated? So, see, now you may feel that, okay, one letter Prabhupada is saying that second initiation is initiation. In the another letter Prabhupada is saying that actually first initiation is more important. So what is the reality? The reality is that there is no contradiction in this. He's saying that actually speaking, second initiation is the real initiation because it is according to scriptures. So that is a fact. But which is amongst them, which is more important? Prabhupada says first initiation is more important. And first stands strong. First initiation stands strong. And if first initiation is executed very thoroughly, then that is sufficient. So again, now what is that thoroughly? That you will also understand. So although I have already shared with you that person who is actually liberated, who has the knowledge, he only can take shelter of the holy name purely, and then he can attain the Lord just by chanting the holy name. It does not require anything else. But for us, conditioned soul will require the process of deity worship. Okay, so this is also clear now. Okay, Mataji, our next reference.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just a minute. I have to turn my screen. Done. Okay. Student, I came to New York from Detroit with a recommendation from Bhagwan Das to be initiated. I have my letter with me. Srila Prabhupada said, you will be initiated. Any one of you, when you agree to follow the regulatory principles and you are recommended by our men, then you can also be initiated. Initiation is a formality. First of all, you have to decide whether you will be abide by the rules and regulations and become Krishna consciousness. That is your consideration. You have to decide for yourself whether you are going to take this Krishna consciousness seriously. That is your decision. Initiation is a formality. If you are serious, that is real initiation. If you have understood this Krishna conscious philosophy and if you have decided that you will take Krishna consciousness seriously and preach the philosophy to others, that is your initiation. My touch is simply a formality. It is your determination. That is initiation.
It's
You want
taken.
to know? The chanting Hare Krishna
No,
is
it's
our
okay.
main business. That is real initiation. And as you are all following my instructions,
That reference
okay?
is all. Yeah. So this is taken from the Back to Godhead magazine, number 49, 1972, The Search for the Divine. Okay. See, here also Prabhupada says very clearly that the spirit is very important. Again, what is the meaning of first initiation? Very important. The spirit is very important. The spirit means the spirit of surrender to the Guru, the spirit of following his instructions, the spirit of being determined. Oops. Okay, I think by oh, I'm not sure how this yellow line came up. Sorry. Okay, anyways, but the spirit is actually more important. So that is what Prabhupada is trying to emphasize here, that even if you take initiation, but if you do not follow, and if you become lax in your bhakti, then that is not going to help you. So that's why the more you follow the instructions of the Guru, that way you are more close to the Guru. You are actually initiated. So everything else is just a formality. Even Prabhupada's touch is also a formality. Ultimately, it's our determination to advance in spiritual life. Okay, 1 second. Let me stop sharing and again come back. All right. So next reference. So the chanting Hare Krishna is our main business. That is real initiation. And as you are all following my instructions, in that matter, the initiator is already there. Now the next initiation will be performed as ceremony officially. Of course, that ceremony has value because the holy name, will be delivered to the student from the disciplic succession. It has got value, but in spite of that, as you are going on chanting, please go on this business sincerely and Krishna willing. I may be coming to you very soon. Letter to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Montreal, 19th August, 1968. So again, Prabhupada is stating the importance of chanting Hare Krishna as our main business, and that is the real initiation. So Prabhupada again is giving emphasis to the holy name, as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur also did the same thing, and we'll go through those references. Um, and we can also observe one thing very clearly, that the entire process of the Hare Krishna movement is depending on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, in fact, the name itself is Hare Krishna movement, right? The ISKCON, International for Krishna Consciousness. The name of Krishna is the central theme of the ISKCON society or Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So, definitely, Hare Krishna has to be the main business. Okay, next reference, Mataji.
The interviewer who said, "What is the procedure of the movement? Do you initiate yourself or the disciples, or do your other disciples also do that?" So Prabhupada said, "Well, initiation or no initiation, first thing is knowledge. Knowledge initiation is formality, just like you go to school for knowledge, and admission is formality. That is not very important thing. So our this moment is successful on account of this moment faultly recording, sorry, because learned scholars and those who are inquisitive advanced, they are seeing, yes, here is. So
Okay.
anyway,
So
this
this
is
is
reference by Vedaves pre-interview, October 16, 1976 at Chandigarh.
yes, thank you. So see, again, Prabhupada is here is emphasizing the importance of knowledge. So there are two parts of basically following the Guru. One is to get knowledge from the Guru, Divya Jnanam, and then to, of course, to act on the knowledge. So there is Jnana and there is Vigyan. And Vigyan is actually most important because it's an implementation of the knowledge that we receive from the Guru. And Diksha also, like as Srila Jiva Goswami has explained, that it is consisting of two words, D and Shaya. So the combination becomes Diksha. So what is the meaning of Div is basically bestowal of transcendental knowledge, Divya Jnanam. And then the Shaya means the destruction of suffering or the sins. So through the knowledge, the Guru is actually destroying our suffering, because when we implement the knowledge, the sins and everything is destroyed. Like for example, when we are saying that any limb of bhakti can destroy unlimited amounts of sins, the holy name also can destroy unlimited amounts of sins. Even in the future, what we commit can also be destroyed by past, present, future. All sins are destroyed just by chanting the holy name. But of course, it has to be without offenses. So any limb of bhakti can give that kind of benediction to us. But knowledge has to be there. How should we execute that particular limb of bhakti? How should we uh, practice that? How should we implement it? So this is very important, and that knowledge is given by Guru. So through that knowledge, our and if we stop committing sinful activities voluntarily, do not commit any further sinful activities, then through the knowledge, by practicing, implementing the knowledge, practicing the limbs of bhakti, then all these destructions, the sufferings and everything is destroyed. Right? So Shaya, so Divya Gyan and Shaya, that actually means, this is the meaning of Diksha. So knowledge is very important, and for knowledge we require Guru. So there is also one conversation. I don't exactly remember the year, but Prabhupada has very clearly stated. Some disciple asked Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, like we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but we do not get liberation. Like we are not getting liberation. So Prabhupada said that chanting has to be pure chanting. If you want to get the result, it has to be pure chanting. In fact, pure chanting we require Guru, because the Guru gives Samman Gyan, like that. Okay, next reference. So anyway, from 1922 to 1933, practically I was not initiated, but I got the impression of preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult. That I was thinking, and that was the initiation by my Maharaj. Then officially I was initiated in 1933, because in 1923 I left Calcutta. I started my business at Allahabad. So I was always thinking of my Guru Maharaj, that I met a very nice sadhu. Although I was doing business, I never forgot him. Then in 1928, these Gaudiya Math people came to Allahabad during Kumbh Mela. As the Kumbh Mela is going to be held this year, a similar big Kumbh Mela was held in 1928. In those days, they came to open their branch in Allahabad, and somebody recommended that you go to. At that time, I was running on my big pharmacy, and I was very well known man in Allahabad as the proprietor of the pharmacy. So somebody recommended them that you go to Abhay Babu. He's very religious man. He will help you. So when they entered my shop, I was very much pleased that these men I met in 1922, and now they have come. In this way, I became reconnected. And in 1933, I was officially initiated, and my only qualification was when I was introduced to my Guru Maharaj for initiation. So Guru Maharaj immediately said, yes, I shall initiate this boy. He is very nice. He hears me very patiently, does not go away. So that was my qualification. The high standard of philosophy which he was speaking at that time, practically I could not follow what he was speaking, but still I like to hear him. That was my hobby. Whenever I was asking that when Guru Maharaj will speak, so he took it very seriously. So see, here Prabhupada is saying that the tendency to hear from the Guru, that is also initiation, or to hear, to accept, and to follow the instruction, that is basically initiation. This is why Prabhupada says that that was my initiation by my Guru Maharaj. 1933, Prabhupada actually formally got initiated, but Prabhupada says that in 1922 itself, he had kind of accepted in his heart. So that was his real initiation. And another thing, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he noticed about Prabhupada, because one time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur had taken his disciples to Braj Mandal Parikrama, and I think it was in Radhakund or maybe in some other place, maybe I don't remember exactly, but in one of the forests of Vrindavan, Bhaktivedanta Thakur was giving class, and but he also allowed his disciples to go on for Vrajmandal parikrama. If they some of them they want, they can go and they can do parikrama. So some of disciples, they actually went and they did the parikrama, but Srila Prabhupada actually sat.
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, my friends?
Sorry,
So
Prabhuji.
yeah, so he sat and heard from.
Right. So you did inspection, right?
Vinay Prabhu, can you please mute your phone?
Yeah. So Prabhupada, he heard from his Guru Maharaj,
So
and he was feeling that, okay, what I'm going to do by going to different places in the forest, what I'm going to see. Better than that, let me hear from my Guru. At least I will understand something. So this is something, especially it was noticed by Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. And then later on, he brings this up that, okay, he likes to hear very patiently. So I will initiate this boy. So he very much appreciated that Prabhupada actually heard from him. And this is actually the real connection and initiation from the Guru. Because your connection with the Guru is based on the Vani, the teachings, the eternal teachings of the Parampara. Okay. And generally, when Guru is there, then the first priority is that you hear from Guru, because the Guru is the one who's going to reveal the Dham to us. So that's why it is said that the Dham is not seen by eyes, it is revealed through the ears. So it is seen by the ears, it is not seen by the eyes. Because by hearing from the Guru, the Siddhant, the Tattva, and the pastimes of the Lord, one can understand this principle, the Tattvas of the Leelas of the Lord, and one is also purified by the process. So that's very important. Okay, next reference, Mataji. I can read this, is a very short one. Okay, so you take the Bhakti Lata beach. Okay, and I just forgot to mention the reference. This was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Disappearance Day lecture, 10th of December 1976, Hyderabad. Next reference. So you take the Bhakti Lata beach from the spiritual master, that is called initiation, and develop it by pouring water of hearing and chanting. Then it will grow. And this is from the lecture on Nectar of Devotion, October 29, 1972, Vrindavan. So basically, when the Guru is planting the seed of Bhakti in our heart, that is also technical initiation. Because again, just like as we read in the purport of Prabhupada in the Bhagvatam verse, that Vasudev initiated Devaki by transferring Krishna from his heart to her heart. Similarly, the Guru is actually giving us the seed of Bhakti. So basically, he's giving that mercy to us, like that. Okay, Mataji, you can start. Mataji, you are there?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm here.
Okay,
Do
yeah,
you
you
want me
can.
to read? I can't see anything, Prabhuji. I just see you.
I've already shared the screen. It's already. Are others able to see on screen?
Now I can see, yes. Now we come to the subject of the first initiation, and it was the only initiation our devotees knew for almost 2 years, until Brahmana initiation was conducted in May 1968. Up to this day, anyone who receives this first initiation is considered as initiated devotee in ISKCON. But that wasn't a case in Gaudiya Matha, where this ritual was known as a Harinam Pradhan, and devotee was then called Harinam Ashrita, as opposed to Diksha and Dikshita. What is known to us as second initiation now, only after the Diksha, a devotee would be considered a fully fledged disciple of Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, not before. That was general understanding widely shared by all GM devotees, Gaudiya Mata devotees. But there was one occasion where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta disagreed, perhaps to curb the pride of some Diksha disciples, but nevertheless, the Diksha are interfere to the Harinam Diksha, Ashrita. They don't believe that the name and the named are non-different. For them, deity worship is required. He then quoted Lord Chaitanya's statement, Iha haite sarva siddhi habe sarva. The holy name alone gives all perfection. With the holy name, one need not undergo initiation or purasacharya observances as with other mantras. From Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaibhava by Bhakti Vikas Swami, the passage in the book continues to establish the main point here. Chanting of the Hare Krishna alone is sufficient and perfect, but some devotees require help of deity worship and correspondingly Diksha initiation. Indeed, to some disciples he never awarded Diksha, deeming Harinam alone sufficient for their spiritual progress. And he stated, the success of Diksha inclination for Harinam. Whoever remains fixed in chanting inoffensively should be understood to have undergone Diksha and all other proceeds. From Sri Bhaktivedanta Vaibhava by Bhakti Vikas Swami, speaking
Okay.
of
Yeah, so these are two references of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, which is given in the book Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav by Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. So what is Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur saying? Again, the same idea is there that was presented by Srila Prabhupada. So he's just continuing the tradition and he's saying that Harinam is actually most important and the Dikshitas are they are inferior to the Harinam Ashritas. So as long as one does not have the faith that the holy name is not different from the Lord directly, then they require the process of deity worship. And another another very important consideration is that he did not give diksha to some of his disciples, deeming that Harinam was sufficient for their spiritual progress. So, and again, he said that the success of Diksha, whatever Diksha mantras you got, or whatever, like, even if you get Diksha, but the success will be judged by inclination for Harinam. So, whether it is helping you to chant the holy name purely, ultimately, that is the litmus test for the Diksha mantras to be effective. Okay. So, now, speaking of ISKCON's first Brahmin initiation, this is how Hansadut Prabhu remembers it. After the first Brahmin initiation ceremony, I asked Prabhupada, what is the significance of this Brahmin initiation? Prabhupada gestured dismissively and said, it is not very important. My Guru Maharaj introduced this ceremony of Brahmin initiation because in his time, Smarta Brahmins, caste conscious, were deriding Vaishnavas as not being qualified Brahmins because they were not born into Brahmin families and had received no second initiation. So to counteract their belittling attitude towards the Vaishnava community, he introduced this policy. But it is not very important. One can become perfectly Krishna conscious simply by first initiation, Harinam initiation. Nothing else is required. It is formality to satisfy the Smarta Brahmins, the caste conscious community. About an hour later, still not being completely satisfied, I again approached Prabhupada and asked him, what is the meaning of the Gayatri Mantra? What does it do? Again, Prabhupada's reply was quite casual and dismissive. He said it is a little auxiliary to the Mahamantra. It is not very important, but it helps in chanting Hare Krishna. The main thing is chanting Hare Krishna. That is the main thing. So Gayatri Mantra, it is a little helpful, but chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient. It is the main thing. So see, again, Prabhupada is consistently saying that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is sufficient. And then he's dismissing the fact, about the Diksha mantras, the importance of that. So, so Prabhupada's emphasis was on the holy name. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur's emphasis also on the holy name. And it was also the emphasis of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not give so much emphasis to the Diksha, the Panchratrik and all that. Because the original verse we started reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it basically mentions the same thing, that Krishna Nam is sufficient, nothing else is required for us. So like that, Prabhupada also did the same thing. He also presented, he gave no emphasis to the holy name. Okay, next reference. Yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Vaikuntanath said in 1972, when Prabhupada gave a series of lectures on the nectar of devotion for 1 month in Vrindavan, a thought was plugging me. When I first joined, been I would been taught I had been taught that the parampara system is like a chain, and if you are not initiated, you are not linked up to this chain. Then you cannot go back to Godhead. I thought we are distributing so many books, but if the people who read them are not initiated, they can't go back to Godhead. So one day I followed Prabhupada from Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, where he lectured, and just before Prabhupada stepped into his courtyard, I said, "We are distributing so many books, but if people aren't initiated, then they can't go back to Godhead." Prabhupada turned and looked at me right in the eyes and said, "Just read, just by reading my books, they are initiated." I thought that is an incredible example of compassion.
Yeah. So this is taken from, I forgot to mention the reference, but this is taken from Siddhanta Prabhu's, Prabhupada is a Prabhupada disciple, Prabhupada Memories, a very famous series on remembrance, Prabhupada remembrances. Actually, I think I forgot to, okay, no, I thought I forgot to turn on the recording, but it's there, yeah. Yeah, so see, this is the unlimited compassion of Srila Prabhupada, that he's offering that kind of initiation to those who are reading his books, who are getting the books and who have started reading. And especially when you read the books, if you accept the philosophy, if you desire to serve Krishna, then the initiation actually starts from that day. So this is what Prabhupada is trying to say here. Okay, next reference. So being bewildered by the material or external energy, they take to these gorgeous ceremonies or sacrificial performances. Actually, there is no need. The whole thing is that Sridhar Swami is giving stress very strongly that you can simply chant Hare Krishna mantra without undergoing any ritualistic ceremonies. Actually, it is very difficult to understand. Madhavendra Puri, our predecessor Acharya, is also composed a nice verse. He says, "My dear Gayatri mantra, I offer you my respect, but no more I can chant Gayatri mantra." In this way, taking bath early in the morning, that's a good recommendation for spiritual advancement. But Madhavendra Puri said, "Now I am unable to execute this order. Please excuse me." In this way, he has described in many ways. At last, he concludes that I shall sit down somewhere underneath a tree and simply remember Govinda's names. That is sufficient. Yes. He says, "Please excuse me, please excuse me, please excuse me." Yeah, so okay, yeah. But this Madhavendra Puri statement is not for neophyte devotees. We should not imitate Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was the spiritual master of Ishwar Puri, and Ishwar Puri was spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the position of Madhavendra Puri, the position of Haridas Thakur, they are different from our position. We should not imitate that because Madhavendra Puri gave up everything and simply concentrated in mind chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna or Haridas Thakur. Therefore, I shall also do that. I shall not rise early in the morning. I shall not take bath. I shall not worship the deity. Simply, I shall. That is not possible. But actually, anyone can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly and in devotion and love. There, the first thing is love, not force. Love, what is called automatically, spontaneous. Spontaneous, just like Rupa Goswami, he said that how shall I chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in one tongue? If I had hundreds and thousands of tongues, then I could chant and relish what is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's a different stage. We should not imitate. But actually, this is a fact that simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you can get relief from all kinds of performances, ritualistic ceremonies. That is the point which is stressed by Sridhar Swami. So, who is Sridhar Swami? The original commentator on the Srimad Bhagvatam. So, this is that Sridhar Swami. It is not Prabhupada's god brother, Bhakti Raksha Sridhar Maharaj. It is Sridhar Swami, the original commentator. So, this is the lecture Srimad Bhagavatam Prabhupada gave on the Bhagavatam 6/3/25/26, 18th February 1971 in Gorakhpur. So again, giving the example of Madhavendra Puri, Prabhupada is trying to explain that if you are able to chant Hare Krishna thoroughly, that is sufficient, more than enough. And Prabhupada says we cannot imitate. But then Prabhupada says that, but someone can chant offenselessly the holy name, then for them it is sufficient. Okay, next reference, Madhaji.
Hare Krishna. The word mantra means that which delivers one from the material world. Only the Dvijas, the Brahmanas, and the Devas, the demigods, can be delivered from material existence by the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a mantra and are suitable for delivering the conditional souls from mental speculations. The conditional souls are engaged in a struggling strategy for sorry, struggle for existence and uh, and deliverance from this struggle constitutes the highest benefit. But unless one gets a mantra from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, deliverance is impossible. The The beginning mantra is the Gayatri mantra. Therefore, after purification, when one is qualified to become a Brahmana, Dvija, he is offered the Gayatri mantra. Simply by chanting the Gayatri mantra, one can be delivered. This mantra, however, is suitable only for the Brahmanas and demigods. In Kali Yuga, we are all in a very difficult position in which we need a suitable mantra that can deliver us from the danger of this age. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, incarnation as a Lord Chaitanya, gives us the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Yeah, so Prabhupada in this purport is talking about that the mantras generally are recommended for the Dvijas, the Brahmanas and the demigods, but we are Sudras, so that's why. Bhagavatam 8 Canto 6 Chapter 15 verse. Next reference, once again, let me see how many references are remaining. Yeah, only few of them, so I think we'll be able to finish. So Lord Krishna is worshipped by the Gayatri mantra, and specific mantra by which he is worshipped is called Kam Gayatri. The Vedic literature explains that the sound vibration which can elevate one from mental concoction is called Gayatri. The Kam Gayatri mantra is composed of 24 and a half levels. Klim Kamadevaya Vidmahe Pushpabanaya Dhimahi Tanno Ananga Prachodayat. This Kam Gayatri is received from the spiritual master when the disciple is advanced in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. In other words, this Kam Gayatri mantra and samskara or reformation of a perfect Brahmana are offered by the spiritual master when he sees that his disciple is advanced in spiritual knowledge. Even then, the Kam Gayatri is not uttered under certain circumstances. In any case, the chanting of Hare Krishna is sufficient to elevate one to the highest spiritual platform. So again, the importance of chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, next reference, Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. so far, Gayatri mantra is concerned. Of course, it is not such an important thing. The main thing is to chant Hare Krishna. But you can consult with the GBC Jayatirtha and he get his recommendations. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is sufficient for becoming Krishna consciousness. You may please me the most by reading my books and following the instructions therein, and by becoming fully Krishna consciousness in this lifetime. I hope this makes you in good health. Your well-wisher, your ever well-wisher, is Bhaktanda Swami Srila Prabhupada. So this was letter to Bahurupa Prabhu, Bombay, on November 22, 1974.
Yeah, I think Bahurupa Mataji. Okay.
You want me to read a next one too?
No. Yes, so the same thing here also. But yeah, see, one thing that Prabhupada states here is that you may please me the most by reading my books and following the instructions therein. So this is the topmost, like by reading, by gaining knowledge from the books of the acharyas and then implementing that knowledge. This is the most important element of surrendering to the spiritual master. All right, next one. Even though you have had no Gayatri mantra, still you are more than a Brahmana. I am enclosing here with your secret thread, duly chanted on by me. Gayatri mantra is as follows. It's not given. Ask your wife to chant this mantra and you hear it, and if possible, hold a fire ceremony as you have seen during our marriage and get the sacred thread on your body. Sardiya or any twice initiated devotee may perform the ceremony. I remember the days when Sardiya expressed to marry you, and I immediately reserved you for marriage to Sardiya. Later on in Boston, you were married, and since then you are working so nicely. I'm very pleased upon you. Simply use this marital life for spreading the glories of Krishna. And in this very lifetime, you will be promoted to associate with Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. So please stay on the purity platform, chant 16 rounds daily without fail, follow regulative principles, and read all our books, and your life is sure to be successful. Unless one is sufficiently empowered, one cannot preach Krishna consciousness. So the fact that you are preaching so nicely is proof that you are already benefited by Krishna. So preach Krishna consciousness and be happy. So very interesting and important letter. So Prabhupada is saying that you are more than a Brahmana. Even Vaikuntha Prabhu has he has not received Gayatri yet. So this is letter to Vaikuntha and Sardiya, Bombay, 4th April 1971. And see, what is very important for Prabhupada, he's clearly mentioning. What he's saying is that simply use this marital life of spreading Krishna consciousness, and in this lifetime you will be promoted to Golok Vrindavan. So please stay on the purity platform. So the basics of Krishna consciousness, regulative principle, 16 rounds, of course, as much as possible, offenselessly, and read all our books. Then your life is sure to be successful, and preach the glories of the Lord. And you will go back to Godhead he's saying in this very lifetime, not tomorrow, like next life or after 2 lives or 3 lives. This very lifetime you will be going back to Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. So the importance of preaching and reading books was very much necessary at that particular time, and Prabhupada's main emphasis was that. So here again you will see that's it's very interesting. There is nowhere it is stated by our acharyas that Gayatri mantra, only by Gayatri mantra you can go back to Godhead. Whereas you will see consistently all the acharyas, they are saying that Hare Krishna Maha is sufficient, and the Gayatri is only an auxiliary to the Maha mantra. That is all consistent, but you will never see one of the acharyas saying that Gayatri is absolutely required. Okay, so the last reference, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The Prabhupada said, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then as he practices, becomes more purified, then second initiation, Gayatri mantra. But the first initiation, according to Jiva Goswami, is that sufficient. The chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is sufficient. But still, to purify them more in the second initiation, Gayatri is given. So we are creating Brahmanas in the Western countries. Yes. So this was the room conversation with Sanskrit professor, August 13, 1973, Bachelor Professor.
That is all right. So with this, we are done with the references, and yeah. So now let's try to reconcile what we have, or like after going through all these references, what do we really understand? What is the conclusion? The conclusion is that, of course, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is sufficient. There is absolutely no necessity of the Gayatri. But what is the most important element in chanting Hare Krishna thoroughly? Because Prabhupada mentions about offenseless chanting, and of course, it has to be the chanting has to be very sincerely done. We have to take shelter of the name, considering it non-different from the Lord. And how do we get that kind of realization? That is only possible when we surrender to Guru, because Guru's importance is absolutely needed. Srila Vishwanath Thakur also, in the Ajamil commentary, he mentions this point, that Ajamil did not commit the third offense, which is to disobey the instruction of spiritual master, or not to accept the spiritual master. If Ajamil thought that I don't require a spiritual master while I chant the holy name, then that would have been an offense. But because it did not commit one of the 10 offenses, like not a single one of the 10 offenses, he was saved by the Vishnu Dutas, and then he was given a chance and attained Prema Bhakti for the Lord, and he went to Vaikuntha. So importance of Guru is absolutely there, because the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is basically the holy name, but in order to chant the holy name purely, we require Sambandh Gyan. As I was also sharing earlier, that when you chant the Diksha Mantra, it has a very specific purpose, a relationship with the Lord. And that is the Sambandh Gyan. Your relationship with the Lord is directly stated in the Diksha Mantra. But when you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that Sambandh Gyan is not clear in the beginning. As you advance further, then and when you read the books of the Acharyas, when you follow their path, then your relationship with the Lord is actually revealed to us. So Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj also said one time that your Swarupa is actually revealed by the syllables of the holy name. So in order to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra purely, we require the help of the Diksha Mantras and the deity worship. Deity worship is a speed up process to actually link our connection to the Lord, to attain the Lord quickly. But again, if we are committing offenses, then we are on the same platform. It's the same thing, one and the same thing, because the Gayatri, see, there are so many aparadhs in deity worship. I think there are more than 64 offenses, something like that. Although the name has only 10 offenses, but I think deity worship has got 64 offenses. That list is, I think, given in the Nectar of Devotion also. So when you are worshipping the deities, there are so many aparadhs to be taken care of. At the same time, when you are chanting the Diksha Mantras, the Gayatri, also because of the name is there, you'll have to consider offenses. So overall, it becomes the same thing. And that's why, unless you worship the deities, the Diksha Mantras practically has no use. Yeah, one thing is there, the only use you can conceive of is that when you are given Diksha Mantras, at least it gives you some kind of qualification to start meditating on your, on a specific relationship with the Lord. At least it gives you some kind of formal permission to start meditating on that relationship. And that is not done immediately with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you are not given Diksha Mantras, if you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but if you do not read the books of the Acharyas, do not try to understand the philosophy, or do not serve the Guru, then these things are not revealed to us. So it remains a mystery only. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra may be useful, but it will be effective to some degree, but it will not give its entire result. Okay, so that way, Diksha Mantras, they will help you in that, because then you have a specific relationship. You have discovered that relationship with the Lord. So that Sambandh Gyan is there with the Diksha Mantras. At the same time, the deity worship will help you to overcome the material contamination. But if a devotee is continuing from the previous life, he is quite purified, he has taken shelter of holy name, and he has read the books of the Acharya. Maybe in the past life he has read the books, the philosophy. So in this life, get the required knowledge, which is needed to chant the holy name, take shelter of the holy name in a specific relationship. Then the holy name is sufficient to take that devotee back to God. There is no requirement of the Diksha Mantras. So this is what we can actually conclude from all the references. Of course, without Guru, you cannot do without that, unless one is already at the stage of Asakti and Bhav from the previous life. Then one can, and if one is especially at the stage of Bhav, then if he continues from Bhava to Prema, then they probably do not require Guru, because the Lord has this Paramatma will actually take the role of Guru. So they may not require. But other devotees who are at lower stages, they will definitely have to take Guru, and they will have to take Sambandh Gyan, and they will have to chant the holy name purely without offenses. So how to chant purely, that is all there in the Sambandh Gyan. Okay. So with this, we conclude our discussion. I think it got late today. So are there any questions or comments? Maybe we can take a few of them.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this very, very illuminating class. Thank you. So, Prabhuji, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, like you're saying, we are pleading to Radha Rani, right? Basically, initially, Hare Krishna. Hare means to Radha Rani.
Yeah, that's the way our acharyas, they have given the meaning of Hare. Oh, energy of the Lord. Energy is Radharani.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so that's one revelation of the Mahamantra. But then there are higher stages also. How the Hare Krishna Mahamantra actually reveals the Nama Rupa Guna Leela of the Lord. And like, for example, the first basic stage of the understanding of the Mahamantra is that, oh Radharani, please engage me in Krishna service. But Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they reverse this and they say that actually we serve Krishna so that we can get the mercy of Radharani, because we give more importance and emphasis to Radharani than to Krishna. So we serve Krishna, we pray to Krishna so that we can actually get the mercy of Radharani, like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So any quick comment or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for this very, very, very nectarine and informative class with so many references. Also, we learned so many things today. And so it's late, it's 9:15 here. So work takes most of the devotees, they left the call. But yeah, they might have question. They can ask you later also. So I don't have any question, but thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this nectarine class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the opportunity. Okay, all right. So nobody has a question, then we can conclude and we can end the class.
Yes, Prabhuji. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुश्च कृपा सिन्धुवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय। रामाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। इस ग्रेस प्रेम रस प्रभु जी की जय। थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna, all devotees.
हरे कृष्णा चित्र माता जी। धन्यवाद प्रणाम। हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna, Mataji. One question. The verse that Prabhuji shared, can you share it in the group, Mataji? So we can read, like I wanted to read later carefully everything.
Okay, I will talk to Prabhuji about that.
You mean the entire references? All the references?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, if you could
Yeah,
share.
definitely. I will send it to Mataji's email. She can forward it in the group.
Yeah, and then maybe next class I can ask you a few questions. I have a small baby, so I was looking after her, so I couldn't catch all the lecture fully. So I'll listen to the recording again. But if I have questions, I'll ask you next class.
Sure. Next time you can.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
March will have one session, so that time you can definitely. Or you may also, if you want, you can WhatsApp me the questions. Maybe
I'll contact Shama Rasika Mataji.
Yeah, I will try to answer on voice recordings. I can send you that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Because you'll have to wait 1 month for the class, and maybe if you are not available that day, then you'll not be able to ask questions. So if you want to ask questions, you can WhatsApp me also.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.